Hey,
You are Locked On Golden Gophers.
No matter what we're going to do here, we're just going to keep rowing.
Your daily podcast on the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
However it turns out, we're just going to keep rowing.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
We're just going to keep rowing, and keep rowing.
You're listening to Locked On Golden Gophers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Kane Rob. We got Tristyn here with us, and it's going to be a good one. But Tristyn, we lost our last game. The last time you and I talked, it ended poorly for the Gophers. How did you feel about that game in general? How did you feel about the Purdue game?
It just didn't, from beginning to end, at no point did it feel like things are going well. Things are on the up and up. Like every drive just felt sluggish. You know, I don't know what it was, and it was a kind of a gloomy-ish day. The air felt heavier.
Right.
It was just it was miserable the whole way through. You know, maybe that beginning, that second half, and we're like, all right, let's get to work now. And it never happened.
Right. Especially on the offense. The offense looked so like just dazed and confused. The whole, like a haze was over them the entire game. The defense started slow, got hot, and then finished slow. But man, it was not the Gophers team we're used to watching. That's for sure.
No, and it sucks because we were so high. Like everything was so up and up, and it was just all positive vibes. We brought all the positive vibes we could. To be fair, I will say, as a fan base, the positive vibes were there.
I mean, it was striped out. It was striped out.
It was. We showed up, but it just didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be.
It's okay. We're moving it. We're letting the past be the past. We're moving on. They've went through the bye week and they're ready for Illinois this week, and we have to move on as well. So if you're a fan listening to the show right now, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. Big weekend this weekend. I said on a show earlier this week, if the Gophers can come in and beat Illinois and somehow beat Penn State the next week, you'll find yourself back in the rankings, back with the hype, back with the respect nationally. So go out there and do it. That's all you can do.
I agree. I mean, I still have faith in us. It was a fluke game. You know, unfortunately, it's just that homecoming bug that we get apparently now is a thing.
Let's just cancel homecoming altogether. Like no more homecoming.
I'm not opposed. Maybe we just don't call it homecoming. We say like, hey,
every game homecoming. Every home game is homecoming. Or that could be wrong too, because then maybe we lose every home game.
Then we just never win home games. We got to figure out a different name. And just maybe we just don't say it, you know. It would be like Candyman. We just don't say it, and it won't, nothing bad will happen. So everyone knows it's homecoming, but don't say it.
Or like flip it. Let's call it coming home instead of homecoming, and then we'll get the dub instead of the loss.
There's got to be a way. We'll break it. We'll get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, we'll get to the bottom, and then we will be sure to hit PJ up and let him know the changes that need to be made as far as what we call the game. That's it.
Exactly.
That's what'll do the trick.
Exactly, and he always listens to our suggestions, so it's fun. We are his number one advisors.
Yes. All right, so for this first segment, let's talk about top units in the conference, just opinion based. It doesn't have to have too much behind it, but like I'll ask top 3 quarterbacks in the entire conference. Who would your picks be?
I still
say the team besides the quarterback too.
I am going to leave Tanner in there. I mean, what did he have? 2-3 picks on homecoming, and I'm a homer. It's fine. That's okay with me. But I'm just saying, like, a couple of those drops weren't his fault, and I don't want to place blame, but a couple of them weren't his fault. I mean, the throws were there. I'm leaving Tanner in the top 3 there. And then let's go next to who? God, that's tough. What's his name for Purdue? Didn't even look bad. If he was injured, that was pretty impressive. Who do you got? Give me
so personally, I mean, you got to have CJ Stroud, right? Ohio State.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I got you covered. I knew you were It was so obvious that you were just letting it go. It was
I really was actually.
right.
It's like okay, who's the best teams in the Big Ten? I just leave Ohio State out
right
completely.
because
If
you
you're in the
already
top
know.
four, you shouldn't have to be talked about in the
It's
Big
a
Ten.
fill in the. It's like the free space in a bingo card. Like you just get that one. You don't have to say it.
Exactly. Yeah, Ohio State. Okay, now let's have a conversation.
Right. But my quarterbacks would be CJ Stroud, Aiden O'Connell from Purdue, like you said. And then I don't have Tanner in the top three. I've actually got him probably around 5 in the conference. For the third quarterback, I'm stuck between Talia, who I know you like as well over at Maryland. And then
Oh yeah.
JJ McCarthy on Michigan has looked pretty good as well. I think if I had to pick, like my life is on the line and I have to back him, I'm gonna go with
Graham Mertz.
Graham Mertz. Oh no. No, I'll go with JJ McCarthy just because he's a lot younger. He's been really high in completion percentage in his first couple games starting, and he looks promising. So let's just lock him in there.
Okay, okay.
All right. Now we're going to move to running backs, top 3, or even just rushing teams in general. Top 3 rushing teams in the Big Ten.
Oof. Can I put the Gophers again?
Yeah, of
I
course.
have to go the Gophers. I have to go the Gophers. I mean, we again bad week, but the run game it is gonna always be what it is. Um, I'm lacking on my Big Ten knowledge right now. I'm not
Hey,
gonna lie to you. Um,
A-okay.
let's go. Let's go with Michigan.
Yep.
Their run game, yeah, their run game is what it is. Um, I keep thinking of Michigan State's run game from last year, and then it's just not the
Yeah,
same this
it's
year.
not quite the same this year. K9 is
No,
gone.
no, it is really not. But Michigan's there, and again, even Maryland, their little running back. Oh, what's Maryland's running back's name?
That's a great question. I couldn't tell you. They
Oh,
passed the ball too much for me.
they really do, but they're running back the few Maryland games that I did watch this year. He runs aggressive, like he runs like he's angry at someone. So I'll put them in.
I'm gonna give you the free space to save your Twitter mentions and not get the wildfire since we're playing them too. Illinois running back leads the nation in rushing yards right now. We're gonna give him the respect, even if you don't want to deep down. We'll
That's
throw it
bad.
out.
I'm not gonna lie. I haven't watched Illinois play yet this year.
Hey,
You know,
that's
it's tough when I'm at the home Gopher games.
right.
You know, I don't really
I mean, they
get to
usually
see
play in the
anyone
same
else
window
play.
as us most of the time too, so it makes
Exactly.
it tough for you to catch their games when we're playing.
Exactly. But this is fine. As long like everyone already knows I don't know what I'm talking about, so that's okay.
We've brought you on for the beauty, and I can be the brain.
So exactly. You give me the numbers and I'll give you an opinion that's probably wrong.
Well, speaking of opinions that might be wrong, might not be, I did start to add up our totals from previous shows, previous predictions. Haven't got the full score yet, but I can let you know that Michigan State week, you were hot. You were 7 for 9 on predictions. Your score guess was 35-14. The score ended up being 34-7. So you were like right there. And then the next week versus Purdue, it was tough. It was tough. You went 2 for
Vibes
5.
were high. Vibes were high. Remember that. They were maybe too high.
The one thing with Brevin's yardage versus Purdue, I was literally 3 yards off of that total. So we've had some hits in here. We've had some nice spots. So even going with your gut has been successful to a point.
And that's fine. That's
So
fine.
trust your gut.
Yep, exactly. That's all I can do. That's all I got.
All right, the final top in the conference that we'll talk about before we move into the over-unders is top 3 defenses. Top 3 defenses in the Big Ten. What are your thoughts or your opinions on that one?
Okay. Well, Ohio State. Ohio State has a defense.
They do look pretty good. They look pretty nice.
They do, but I was hesitant because again, it's a free space. They're a good team. I want to. Okay, this is going to sound dumb, but Iowa does not let up a lot of points.
Oh no, you're right. Iowa is definitely up there for sure.
And I by
Their
no
offense
means
is quite the opposite.
exactly. They're not a great football team, but they don't let up a lot of points against teams. I mean, if you can only score 6 points and still beat them, and they'll only put up 6 points and still beat them. But I'm gonna go with Iowa's up there, and I still have faith. I have faith in our defense. Our
Oh, for
defense,
sure.
like you said, they started out slow, got hot in the middle, but when we are clicking, I mean, we see what we can do. You know.
Oh, absolutely. I'm with you on Minnesota and I'm with you on Iowa. I will flip your Ohio State and I'd pick Illinois again. But maybe I'm pandering. Maybe I'm just catering to those Illinois fans that have been jumping in the comments on these videos. But I do think they have a top 10 defense right now. They haven't allowed any touchdowns at home. I actually had an Illinois fan in the comments repeatedly. I said, that's a cool stat and all. You haven't had any touchdowns at home, but it's not predictive. It's not something that has a correlation. Like when you play at home, people can't score. No, I just want to tell you what I had to tell this fan. And they didn't respond after that. I gave this. I had to spit facts, Tristyn. I had to spit facts.
Just because they haven't doesn't mean they cannot.
There wasn't really any correlation. And I said, the big thing is, let's take a look at the offenses that you've played at home compared to who you've played on the road. The teams that they played at home, the scoring offensive ranks, they played the 102nd out of 131 teams, the 120th out of 131 teams, and the 127th out of 131 teams. That's the rankings of the offenses they've played at home games when it comes to scoring offense. And then they played an FCS school. Let's talk about why no one scored touchdowns on you at home. I want you to guess, out of 131 teams, where the Gophers scoring offense ranks in the country.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Guess a number between 131 and 1 of where the Gophers would rank when it comes to scoring offense.
Probably I don't even know. Top 20. We put up
right on the edge. We're 21. So you've played the 102nd, the 120th, and the 127th, and now you're taking on the 21st. Like, there probably will be a home touchdown given up this week. I'm just saying, it's just a hunch, a guess. Now, it's not a guarantee by any means, but that's what I'm saying by it's not predictive. And so on the road, when they gave up 3 touchdowns so far, they played the 53rd ranked offense and the 98th ranked offense. So the second they got above those hundreds, teams started scoring. So like,
exactly.
Just some facts to keep in mind. Now, this is the best offense that Illinois will take on, but it's also the best defense that the Gophers will have played so far this week. So it's going to be a grinded out game. It's going to be tough. And we're going to talk about the over-unders coming up next. But first, we have to talk about our friends over at Underdog who are bringing you this episode. Now, this Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to spice up your college football weekends. You want to talk about the college football season and having more fun and being able to be more invested in the games? Well, then get started with Underdog Fantasy. It's easy to start, it's easy to play, and you can do it while you're watching your favorite team play. Now, what you do is, all you do is you pick a couple players that are playing in the games. It can be anywhere from 3 to 5 players, and then you pick over or under on some of their lines. And if you get them all right, you get cold hard cash. Who doesn't like that? You just pick between 2 and 5 players. Excuse me, I said 3. And not just on your team. You have to pick between at least 2 different teams and decide if they're finished higher or lower than their totals. So Jordan Travis, higher than 260 yards versus whoever he's playing, higher or lower. That's just an example, but you pick 2 to 5 of those, and then if you get them all right, you get cold hard cash back. You can sign up with promo code LOCKED ON, one word, LOCKED ON, and Underdog will double your first deposit of up to $100. So you put $100 in, you get $100 back. That's $200 in your account. You put $50 in, they'll put $50 in. That's $100 in your account. All you have to do is use promo code LOCKED ON, one word again, one word, LOCKED ON, And you can go to underdogfantasy.com, or you can find them in the App Store at Underdog Fantasy. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Locked On, one word, and get in on the college football pick'em today. All right. We're back, and we're talking about over-unders. Now, Tristyn, we've been hot and we've been cold on these. I'm not going to lie. So the first thing is the Gophers are favored right now by 6.5 points. Are you taking the over and saying the Gophers win by 7 or more? Or are you taking the under, saying they win by 6 or less, or they lose?
I think the over. I'm not going to be as overzealous as I was against Purdue, but I think we definitely win by more than a touchdown. And not to say it's not a close game, but I think we're in a good spot to bounce back. You know, we've had 2 weeks to prepare. I'm gonna hit the over on that.
All right, I'm gonna hit the under. I'm gonna say it's gonna be that scrappy. I think it could be like a 17-14 type dogfight, and so I'm gonna hit the under. And I don't know if I feel good about that in the long scheme of things, but I'm going to say it. So
Gotta go with your gut.
And I got to rack up points, trying to get more points than you in this whole predictions game. So I can't pick all the same things. All right, so then Mo Ibrahim, we know he's a dog. We know it's like that free space again when it comes to 100 yards. But the line that I have is 110.5 yards, so just above 100. So do you think he'll go over with 111 or more, or do you think he'll be under with 110 or less?
I think it's gonna be a battle this week. I'm giving myself a small window here, and I'm going to go under, but I really think there's nothing that's going to stop him from getting 100 yards. So I think he finishes the day with 101, 102 yards, but it's going to be under 110.
I wanted to do the same, but I'm tempted to move away from you. No, I'm going to take it as well. I'm going to say under. I think he's going to be right in there. It's going to be a small room for error if we both think he's going to be above 100 but below the line. I'll go under as well. So if we lose together, brother. We lose together.
I think what we just did is just try to save our take there, save our guess, because that way we can always say, oh, he scored, like he has to score either 99 or 111 for us to be wrong. So we're really for us to be correct. We've cut ourselves a gap there. We can be like, well, he didn't go over, but he got 100, or he didn't get 100. Like,
yeah, right. And if he goes under 100, we still got the prediction right, but it doesn't feel good.
We're not happy about
going.
We're not happy about it. We're not unders, guys. We don't want any unders ever.
All right, then moving over to Tanner Morgan. I've got the line at 185.5 passing yards. Are you over that or under?
I think that number sounds good. I'm gonna go over just because I think the run we're gonna have to air it out with this defense. Like the run defense is gonna be, like you said, better than we've played before. So I think PJ is gonna be deep in the playbook this week. Really showing some things that maybe we haven't seen yet. We played two conference games so far. So I think we'll see some stuff, but I think he might sling that thing this week.
Yeah, I'm going to go over with you as well. Kirk Shiraka has been a baller when it comes to after a break, after a bye week, after prepping for a bowl game. He's usually been pulling out like you said, pulling out the extra goods in the playbook. So I think we're going to see a lot of nice schemes, a lot of things that'll catch teams off guard. So I do think that he'll be over, maybe not blow it out of the water over, maybe close to 200, but I think he will go over as well. Now, the big thing the Gophers do need is turnovers. And so do you think the Gophers will get over 1.5 turnovers or under?
I really like where these lines are. Like it sounds like dead on where they should be.
It sounds like you'd lose some money.
I'm going over that. I'm going over. If I think if if everything can click and we can stay in that zone where we were in the beginning of the year, locked in and ready to go, then I think that we will, we'll find ourselves, getting some turnovers where we need them.
So I think if we go over, I think we get a win in this game. That being said, I'm going to say under. I think maybe we only get one turnover in the game, potentially an interception, but you could be right. You definitely could be on the right streak, especially if Tommy DeVito does not play and they have to go with their backup quarterback. That sets you up for possible more turnovers, as well as Illinois has turned the ball over 12 times so far this season. They've also forced 14 turnovers, so their defense is really good at that, but they have been known to turn it over, and the Gophers have had 3 in each of the last two conference games. So definitely is room for you to be absolutely correct on that one.
I just feel like the defense is going to, coming off the last loss, they're going to kind of have, have a chip on their shoulder, come out a little more aggressive and
Right.
and really want to get back to where the trajectory that they had going,
Have to. You have to. This is a big game. You have to win if you want to win the West. This one is massive. All right, the final line for the over-unders is, will the Gophers score over 17.5 points?
Yes. I think it's going to be a battle, but I for some reason I don't feel like it's going to be a low scoring game. I think it'll be a higher scoring game. I still think we'll win by a touchdown or so, and I want our defense to do well, but I think we're going to see some points put up to our Saturday. So
Well,
I'm going to go over.
Vegas wants to argue with you there. They have the number at 39 combined points between the two teams, but I do think 17.5 is really close to what you could see. I think you could see maybe 21 points, maybe 17 points. It's right around there, I think. So I'm going to go under just for the sake of trying to rack up these points against you then. I think that it's going to be close, and I think my final score prediction for the Gophers will be 17. So I'll cut it down by a hair.
No, I get it. I understand the low number. This is it's a Big Ten matchup. It's not high flying football all the time, and so I don't know. I just going with my gut again.
We've learned you got to trust
exactly.
the gut.
I feel like even Illinois put up. Granted, Wisconsin is Wisconsin this year, but they put up a lot of points against Wisconsin, and
right.
It's still Wisconsin, So
right.
Even the way we put up points against Michigan State, it's still Michigan State. But I don't know. I just have a gut feeling. Maybe it'll be higher than 17. That's for sure.
All right, so we're gonna dive into the predictions to wrap up the show coming up next. And let's do it. Let's jump into the predictions. Now, the first thing we always got to do is guess the final score. The final score of the game, what do you have?
I have 21-28. And that is a real football number.
It is a real football number. Can confirm.
Football score. Can confirm football score.
Tristyn has his football math down to a T. You can't argue this one. It is a legitimate football score.
Exactly.
I'm going to run in with 17-13. That's what I'm going to go with. 17-13 Gophers. It's going to be a tight one. The defenses are going to be scrappy. And I think it comes down to special teams, how you can get good field position, whoever gets the better field position, and turnovers. I think those are going to be the key things for this game. It might not be football fans' favorite type of game because it could be low scoring and scrappy, but it'll be a battle. That's for sure.
Yep.
All right. So who do you got for best offensive player for the Gophers and best defensive player for the Gophers?
I said Brev last week. I'm not going to say Brev again. I'm not going. He had his chance. I'm not going to give him every week. I think offensively, Tanner's going to have to come to play. But I want to go with Dalen Wright. I think we throw the ball this week, and I mean, obviously Tanner has a big part in that success is where I was getting at there. So Tanner has to have a good game, and I think he's going to show out this week. especially with that run defense. I think that we're gonna be battling to run the ball, and so we're gonna have to throw it to open things up. And so I think he's gonna have a week.
So Dalen Wright, locking that in?
Lock it in.
All right. Well, then I am going to go with potentially a chalk pick. I'm going to go with Mo coming back, being able to hopefully get this run game going after only, 47 rush yards last week? That was the most pitiful effort we have had in PJ Fleck's time with the Gophers in like 6 years.
That's how you could tell things just weren't going well. Like, it just was not a good day. It wasn't a good day. Because even last year, our run game, it didn't matter who was in. You could have put me in the backfield and I'd have racked up 100. Like everyone who lined up back there was just like, here, you have 100 yards. You have 100 yards. It was not. So that's how you knew it was just, it wasn't a day.
It was a rough one. It was indeed. Now, who do you got for the defensive side of ball?
I said rush last week, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
I'm voiding last week. We should void last week's picks even. We should just void them all together. That was a fluke. But I want Rush. I think I have a soft spot for D lineman, and I want him to just tear it up. I know he plays aggressive. I'm going with Rush again.
I actually think you said Mariano last week, and you said Rush in the Michigan State week, and you were right in the Michigan State week. So Rush has brought you some good luck so far.
I'll give him again.
All right, I'm going with Newbin because he's been hot. He has been on fire. I also picked him in the Michigan State week, and he went absolutely ballistic. Well, not ballistic, but he did really well. He went ballistic last week. He almost had 2 interceptions and a forced fumble last week. I don't think he's slowing down. I think the Newbin train is going, and he's trying to get that ticket to play on Sundays, and I think he keeps it going this week.
Agreed.
All right, big question here. Which team will have more rushing yards in this game?
Ooh, that is a tough one. Ah, man. If our defense can keep their motor going the whole game and stay consistent, and not waver, I think the Gophers will come out with more rushing yards. I have faith in even our linebacking core. So I'm going to go with the Gophers based on hoping the defense does well in keeping the run contained. So,
all right, Gophers fans might stop listening to my show after this one, but I'm picking Illinois. I think that Illinois might have more rushing yards than us this week. I think their front seven brings more pressure, and I think that's going to stack up. And I don't know. I think that they're going to have more rushing yards. I do think Tanner's going to be a key in this game, like you said. So hopefully that means we're still going to come out with the dub. Hopefully it's not too much more. It'll be close. We said Mo would have under 110. So let's say Chase gets 120. There we go. That'll be it.
That works. That's fine.
All right. Now, who will be the most effective pass catcher for the Gophers in this game?
This one not being a homer guy, but I'm gonna go with Brev, just because I think he's gonna be a nice down to down passes, not anything like straight up down the field like I think Dalen and those guys are gonna get, but I think it's a nice little change of pace when we run, little dump off to Brev. I think he will be that guy, and that'll be a good role for him this week, I hope.
All right, I think I'm going to catch you by surprise on this one. So my affinity and my love for Daniel Jackson showing out, and he's been balling, and he's been my guy lately. But I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to pick Michael Brown-Stephens. I'm going to go with a redemption game from Michael Brown-Stephens. They're going to give him targets and looks. Tour. Exactly. Let him redeem himself after that drop touchdown last week. That was huge. And he's going to come back with a vengeance and really show out this week. So I've got Michael Brown-Stephens with the most effective pass catcher this week. Now, I'm glad. I bet you didn't see it coming, though.
I actually didn't, and I love that because Tanner's another guy. We don't dwell on those things. Nobody dwells on those things. So I like that pick.
All right. We got 3 questions left. The first one is, who will be the biggest surprise player for the Gophers this week? Now, last week, Tristyn, you said the entire offensive line would be the surprise of the week, and they were, in the wrong manner. In the absolute wrong manner. They just fell apart. So hopefully this will flip the script right here. Who do you got for the surprise player for the Gophers this week?
I want Bryce. I want Bryce as that change of pace back, and I think he's gonna have a few nice little runs coming out. Especially, I mean, last week he got a lot of carries, obviously, but I think he runs hard. If you watch that, even that fourth quarter when we were still driving in the red zone, he runs hard. Regardless of how the kind of the mood of the game was. So I'm gonna go with Bryce.
All right, I'm gonna go with Ryan Stapp. I don't know how he's gonna do it, but coming in at that nickel cornerback, I think either we'll send him on the edge to stop the run on a corner blitz, or he might come up with a pick. I don't know. I just think he finds a way to get it done. So he'll be the most surprise player for the Gophers this week, in my opinion. Now, 2 questions left. The first one is which Gopher will score the first touchdown in the game, if there is one?
Mo. It's got to be Mo. The first one, it's Mo. It's always been Mo. It's Mo.
I am going to say Tanner Morgan. We somehow get it down to the 1 yard line, do the classic Tom Brady QB sneak that Tanner has just been punching in all week or all season this year. And Tanner is the one that scores the first touchdown. Now, the final question, Tristyn, the one everybody wants to know, will Mo being back change the offense back to what we saw those first 4 weeks and light the fire for this team?
I think absolutely. I think, I think about it. If last week everyone's warming up and, all week Mo's good to go, that could probably be pretty deflating when you find out, the best running back, one of the best running backs in the Big Ten is now just not going to play with us, so on homecoming, that could be a big thing that, mentally affected some guys. So I'm going to go with, and I think they bounce back real quick. He's a motor out there too. And he's, the stuff he's doing, even when he doesn't have the ball, is game changing. So I'm going, yes, absolutely, it does.
I think you said it best right there. The stuff he does without the ball is game changing. I think how he carries himself, how he shakes off mistakes, how he fights ahead for those extra yards and then comes back unshook. Even if he took a big hit, even if he loses a yard, but he fights forward from losing 5, those make a difference, and they light the spark for teams to be like, we can still do this. Look at what he's doing. Look at that effort. Look at the leadership. And I think you're right. I think that you see a different offense out there on the field with the confidence that he instills across the entire unit.
I agree. He hits even, if you watch him after a play, he breaks off a 10-yard, 15-yard run. He's right back to the huddle, good to go. He's like, all right, what's next? He's always going. And I think having a guy like that around, keeps the rest of the team also like, all right, like we gotta drive here. Let's go.
Right. So, I'm with you. And we showed Mo some love to close out this show. And hopefully we're just singing his praises come next week when we get to review, and hopefully we'll get predictions right. Maybe we'll split 50-50 because we did pick against each other here. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully the Gophers come out with the win versus the ranked number 24 Illinois football program. It's going to be a big week. Be sure to cheer wherever you are, whether you're traveling to the game or from your house. Feel free to drop in the comments below what you think the prediction for the score is going to be for this week. We'll see you next week. Tristyn, anything else for him before we go?
That's all I got. Sky you ma, row the boat, baby.
Yes, sir. Row the boat. Sky you ma. Go Gophers.